Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Michael Matheson's saga of lies and stealing and fraud and embezzlement and cover-up and snidery seems set to run and run and run. There is no end to this in sight until, of course, he resigns and the iPad is examined fully by independent scrutineers. And indeed it is on the subject of scrutiny that we turn our what is now a jaded eye, I think, when we look at these people. Because the Scottish Parliament's corporate body has suggested, or not suggested, has come out right and said that his attempts at self-scrutiny were completely bogus and that he must really answer questions and be fully investigated. This is not the sort of thing Michael Matheson and the SNP want to hear, but it's entirely the sort of thing that we all want to hear. We want to know all of what's been going on. We want to know what is on his iPad, and we want to know why he lied upon lied upon lied to get himself out of what basically is a very big hole that he dug himself. We'll take a look at this, see what's going on, and see why he could be in far deeper trouble than even he thinks. Oh dear, it's not going away. Here goes. Lie as he might, try as he might, it's not gonna go away. This is not ending until he resigns. He must see this now. It's just getting worse and worse and worse, with even Parliament itself coming out calling him botched and bogus for his own attempts at trying to alleviate the pressure on him. Because it's not acceptable. The man is a liar. He's lost all justifiable reason for being a minister. We can never ever believe anything he says. And that's the problem. Once your reputation is gone, you just cannot get it back. Now, I'm going to just, we'll do this with the headline and things, but let me just look at this, right? And there you've got in the background Neil Gray. Neil Gray's looking down as Matheson tries to explain what's going on. Neil Gray, his body language, his facial expression, everything, is sitting there going, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm here. It's quite obvious this guy's finished. I'm not even showing enthusiasm or interest in what he's saying. Neil Gray knows. Neil Gray knows that Matheson is done. And there's Matheson. Look, told probably by the spin doctors, stand with your hands out like that. Stand with your hands out like that. It makes it look as though you're telling the truth. But you're not telling the truth. We know you're not telling the truth because your mouth's open. Anyway, Michael Matheson is under fire again for botched and bogus investigational ruse as the committee urged to investigate. The shamed SNP MSP is yet to escape scrutiny of his handling of his spending scandal, as fresh calls for a Holyrood committee to investigate him are made by the Scottish Tories. But this isn't just out of the blue. This, of course, is because something happened, and we're going to look at that. Calls for Michael Matheson to be investigated by Holyrood Standing Committee have begun, barely 24 hours after Scotland's corporate body deemed the MSP's attempt at self-scrutiny was botched and bogus. The corporate body said, no, it's not enough. You're going to have to tell the truth for once in your miserable, lie-filled, thieving life. The Health Secretary has come under more heat following the £11,000 iPad scandal. He has denied misleading Humza Yousaf, even though he did. He's denied misleading the Scottish public about personal usage that he blames on his teenage son's football viewing. But he did. And now, asked by reporters whether he'd misled anybody during his scandal, he said no, and that was a lie. And we covered that first thing this morning. He's then gone on to show that he has lied about his lies and then admitted throwing his kids under the bus to try and pass the buck and blame away from him and onto children. What a sad wanker he truly, truly is. As well as being a liar and a thief. The man is not fit for office. He must see this himself. He must go. And if Kendall had the pair of balls that he obviously doesn't have, then he would have fired him a week ago. It is shameful that this man is still in his position. Anyway, unconvinced by all the lies he's tried to spin. The Scottish Conservatives are calling for the Standards Committee to enter the fray and investigate the MSP after Parliament officials confirmed there is no mechanism for an MSP to self-refer to the corporate body, which is a cross-party group of MSPs which oversee the day-to-day running of Holyrood. So what he did the other day is he said, I will refer myself to the corporate body, which is what the group is within there. And he did that to try and deflect away from the fact that he didn't want anyone investigating. Oh, I'll refer myself to this. But it turns out there is no mechanism for doing that. So he said it deliberately knowing that he couldn't be scrutinised. That makes him an even bigger wanker than we currently think he is. Oh, look at me as I lie. I will report myself, but I know that by reporting myself nothing can be done because the mechanism isn't there. But it sounds good for the cameras and gets a bit of heat off me for 5 minutes. What a complete tosser. Anyway, Tory leader Douglas Ross said the SNP MSP had been left humiliated and he has repeatedly lied and attempted to cover up throughout this affair. Mr Matheson is also due to face a vote of no confidence brought by the Tories this week. Mr Ross said, I think it's imperative that the Standards Committee investigate Matheson's actions for possible breach of the MSP Code of Conduct. He was further humiliated yesterday when the Scottish Parliament's corporate body ruled his self-referral to them was botched and bogus. But then he's a very bogus person, isn't he? He said that mechanism doesn't exist and now it looks like it was a ruse from the Health Secretary in his personal statement. Yeah, it was the I'm doing this to get the heat off, but it doesn't stop me being a lying, thieving bastard. What a prick. He truly is. I'm sorry about the language here, but he just drags it out of you. It's just, look, being cynical. Oh, look, I'm going to blame myself. Oh, well, I'll put myself forward knowing that isn't going to happen. Why would you even say that knowing it? You know, again, it's another one of those stupid lies. You're telling this lie that you're going to report yourself, knowing it can't happen, but not being clever enough to know you're going to be found out. It's just sickening. These people are just sickening bastards, aren't they? Corrupt, dirty, degenerate, thieving, lying bastards. That's what he is. They all are. This is why I loathe politicians and their two-faced snake bellery. Well, in his case, bellendery. Matheson's position is untenable. He's repeatedly lied and he's attempted to cover up throughout this affair. Matheson has also been accused of insulting people's intelligence with his claims that he has not misled anyone, which he obviously has. It is an absurd claim that he hasn't misled the public, and it is an insult to people's intelligence, given by the timeline he mapped out in his personal statement, he admitting doing just that. Asked by STV News whether he had misled anyone about the scandal, Matheson said no, we covered that this morning. He said, I have sought to be very clear. Well, that's another lie. The one thing you haven't been is clear. You've been misdirecting, snide, cover-up, sleek-it, bastery. You haven't been honest. The one thing you haven't been honest. You know? Oh, it's just absolute shite. He goes on, oh, I'm doing it to protect me kids. Meanwhile, throwing the children under the bus to protect him. What a cock. I'm not even going to go there. He's just a prick, isn't he? He's a lying, two-faced, snide bastard. There's nothing else I can say. And that claim, I'm going to report myself to the committee, knowing that there's no way that can actually happen because the mechanism isn't there. But hey, look, if I say it, then the very stupid people that make up the vast proportion of this country will believe me. Well, let me tell you, Matheson, we're not stupid. We listen to your words and we know you lie. We know you're a snido. We know you're a snake. You're scum. You're absolute human dross. And you need to resign and then fuck off out of Parliament, out of public life, and out of our sad, bitter memory of people like you. The only trouble is you're not the last one. The SNP is filled with snakes and vipers. It is a den of iniquity. I'm coming up. Well, that escalated quickly. I do apologise. I think just drags it out of you. I got so mad with him because it is just utter two-faced wankery from these snakes, these crawling, slimy pieces of filth. And they look you in the eye and they lie to your face and they know that you know they're lying and still they lie. And when you catch them, they just carry on with different lies. They can't tell the truth. They have to lie all the time because the truth would destroy them. And I have a feeling the truth absolutely, totally would destroy Matheson. I'm pretty sure that what he's got on his iPad is so utterly degenerate and disgusting that he daren't release it. Because he knows it would not only finish him, it could finish the entire party. Him, a senior minister, backed by Humza Yousaf, and sitting there with what I consider probably the worst thing. I can't say that he's got it, but in my mind, and there's a lot of people who think that what he's got on there is very young people. And I'll leave that there. I'm going to stop. I'm going to finish. I don't want to get angry again. I'm calmed down now. I'm going to go make myself a nice cup of tea. Then I'll come back and do my next video. But by God, they don't half drag it out of you, don't they? Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and just know that that lying toad has got a lot more truth behind him that he will never, ever tell. Goodbye.